Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is learning how to change the forms. Okay, so we know this right now. We're going to call this standard form. Okay, that's the standard form. And then general. So those are the two different types of quadratics we're going to see. We're going to learn how we can change them from one way to the other. Okay, so this one is in standard, and I'm going to change it to general. Okay? There's nothing new that you're going to learn here. You're just going to do math work. Okay, so does anybody understand when you do that squared, it's a little bit tricky because you have to think about your math like that. Okay? You can't just square the terms. You have to square it like a unit. Okay, when you square it like that, do you realize it's creating a whole FOIL system? So can you do that FOIL for me? Okay, so did you get x squared minus 4x minus 4x and a plus 16? Does that seem right? Outs, ins, last? Okay, and then you could put these together. So minus 8x okay, we're not done. We'll still have to move the 7. But can I get you to look at what happened here? Does anybody kind of see something going on to get this number and something going on to get that number? Okay, I want you to just think about that in the back of your mind. If you have figured it out, there's something with that and that. Okay, the last step here is I'm going to have to subtract 7. So I get y equals x squared minus 8x plus 9. Okay, so if I wanted to start like this and go that way, it's going to be a whole process that we're going to learn. Okay? So in general, and if I work to get it to this standard, this process we're going to do today is called complete the square. So I have it written down there, complete the square. We're going to be able to turn it from that to that. Okay, but it's going to take a lot more work than what we just did. Okay, we're going to do some math warm-ups here, so to get us ready for what we're going to do. Can you figure out this? So if I do x plus 3 squared, can you figure out what that would FOIL to be? Okay, did you get x squared plus 6x plus 9? Because you could put the 3x and the 3x together. Okay, what about the next one? So if I could square that, what do you end up getting? Okay, that should have been your result after your FOIL, because this was a minus 5x and a minus 5x. Okay, do we see the connection? Okay, so ready? Let's look at this 3 and then 6x. This was a minus 5 and this is a negative 10x. There's something connecting that and that. Okay, what's the connection between that number and that number? That number and that number. Okay, so in a quick thought process here, what is this going to be? So x squared, does anybody know what this is going to be? 16x, because it is it's that number doubled, yep, times 2, doubled. And what's this going to end with? 64, because it's that number squared. Okay, now can we work backwards? Okay, if I have this trinomial, what was the binomial that I squared? So obviously this is an x plus 7, because it doubles and squares. Okay, next, this is an x, and then what number would work in that binomial? Negative 10, because it doubles to that and squares to that. Okay, now I'm going to take you one step further. Can you figure out what I would have to put on this blank and what it would be to square? So maybe you want to think about this first. X, what has to go here? Negative 6, because it has to double to that. And then what then would I finish this trinomial with? 36. Okay, so what I'm actually doing here is I'm taking that middle number, I'm cutting it in half, and then I'm squaring it. That's what I'm doing. Okay, can you fill out this one with what at the end and then what in the binomial? Okay, so here I would take the half, which is 9 squared is 81, and that's where I put the 9. Okay, so that's what we're going to need to do this method. Okay, we're ready to do it now. So here's the same one we had from above. Remember, this question, we know what the answer is. So we already know what the answer is, so let's see how to get it. Step 1. Move the C number. Okay, so that's me moving the C. I have to get rid of that number at the end. I don't like it there. Step 2, complete the square. So this is the process of the complete the square. So what do I put at the end of the trinomial? So I want to make a perfect trinomial. So remember what goes there? So I'm going to take half, got your number in your head, and then square it. So you get 16. Okay, step 3 is we need to balance it out. Okay, here's what we did. We added 16, so if you think about a teeter-totter, if you add 16 on one side, you have to add 16 to the other side, because it didn't exist. You put it there and it didn't exist. And step 4 is to write it in standard form. So what does it look like in standard form? So this is y plus 7. And now I can say what squared? What binomial squares to give me that trinomial? And that was the work we just did, right? It doubles to that and squares to that. Okay, and now, you know what? I can quickly give my vertex. The coordinate is 4, negative 7. The slope is 1, because I just have a 1 in front of the squared stuff. Okay. Let's try another one with, maybe we can get a little bit faster. Okay, so I need to remove the last number. The purpose is I want to make the perfect trinomial, and that one was not perfect. Step 2. How can I end this trinomial? So take half and square it. What's this? Half and then squared. Did you get a plus 1? Step 3. Okay, you created that. You threw it on. You upset at the teeter-totter. So you need to bounce it back out. And step 4, finalize it. So y subtract 4 equals something squared. Okay, because you made that trinomial, you can turn it into, and did you write x plus 1 squared? It doubles to that and squares to that. Okay, so those two questions had us doing a slope of 1. So now you're going to get to a slope that's not 1. Okay, so we're going to add a step in here. So step 1 is the same. So move the C . Okay, step 2 is where everything changes. You half to remember to do this here. Okay, step 2 is to factor out your A. Okay, so here's what we want. We want the 2 out of there, and we're going to make a simple trinomial. Okay, simple trinomials start with 1x squared. Okay, ready? If I take the 2 out, this is just x squared. If I take a 2 out, this is a negative 8x. Okay, now remember the goal? I want to always finish my own trinomial. I want to put what I want there. So step 3 is complete the square. Okay, but you can only do it if you have a simple trinomial. So once we got the 2 out, we have a simple. Okay, so now I'm going to put a what there? Plus 16. This divided by 2 squared. Okay, step 4 is to balance it. Okay, now here's something that's going to be different than last time. Last time we would have just added 16 to balance it out, but we can't do that here because we have 2 times 16 is really the amount that we have to consider. So I'm going to have to add 32 to balance it out. Okay, so if I'm thinking about this, this was 2x squared, it existed. This is negative 16x, it existed. This is 32, and that didn't exist. Okay, step 5 is final. So I need to write it in that standard form. So y plus 2 equals 2 bracket something squared. And that would be x minus 4. Okay, you can quickly see the vertex. When you have it here, it's 4, negative 2. Okay, if you really wanted to on a test, you could check your answer. How would I check my answer? I could go negative b over 2a, comma, plug in, and see if my vertex matches that vertex. Okay, number 4. Ready? Move the 8. Some of you might do these in the same step. That's all good. Okay, I do get a lot of errors right here with people giving me a plus 36. Don't do that. We can't do anything until we have a simple trinomial. So if I take the 3 out, I get an x squared, and taking the 3 out, I get a minus 4x. Okay, now I'm going to finish the trinomial with my number. So half of this squared. Did you get a 4? Okay, what number should I put onto the other side to balance it back out? 12. Okay, because it's not just 4, it's 3 times 4. And then finalize. So y plus 4 equals 3 something squared. So that's x minus 2. Okay, last question, I think. Okay, so y plus 17, because I'm going to get that number out of there. Okay, I'm going to do 2 steps in one. I'm going to get my negative 4 out. Okay, if I take a negative 4 out of that, it becomes just an x squared. If I divide by negative 4, what do you get? That would be negative 4x. Okay, then I get to end my trinomial myself. Okay, it always has to be a simple trinomial though. I can end the simple trinomial. So half of it squared. This is, I guess, the same as the question above. 4. Do you notice how that's always plus? Because whatever you square is plus. Okay, what am I going to teeter-totter the other side with? How much?
Negative 16.
Negative 16. And now I'm going to write the final. So y plus 1, negative 4, some binomial squared. So x minus 2 would square to that.